All right, Ernie, it's been a while since we really kind of had a good conversation, and since we've done a lot in the past in Norristown, and as I mentioned in other videos about people have kind of just seen me as Pastor Brian and involved in the ministerium and community organizing and all that, but they didn't see the triathlon side of me that was back in my early 20s, and that was all in Southern California. And now I'm coming back. I came back to the sport in the last 6 years, and since that, it's a different season in my life, and now my passion for the sport of my own coming back to it. Now it's all about advancing the sport of triathlon, to swim, bike, run. And in that advancing of the sport, we're coming on September 24th of this year, the 50th anniversary of triathlon. And I remember in the early days when triathlon was still a new sport. And when in 2000, it became an Olympic sport. And so it is something that is a worldwide movement. And I have just considered this an honor right now that I just recently was a recipient of the USAT Foundation's Together We Thrive scholarship, with its intent is to form a Black triathlon team club in Norristown specifically. And within that, this initiative, it has been a passion of mine in connecting and partnering with the Norristown Carver Center because of its history, that we're going to talk more about this in our conversation. But why, I was asked if of having this interview with you, Ernie, is because you really represent Norristown, the heart and soul of Norristown. And so, no, I don't think there's really anybody, not say anybody, but you represent the fabric of that. And I would like all of our viewers to understand that and the importance of this, because foundationally, it's going to really be the partnership, the endorsement of what we're attempting to do here. And so let's kind of roll backwards and Ernie, let our viewers know about who is Ernie Hadrick. Tell us a little bit about your life, and we'll take it from there.
You're gonna make me blush, man, with all this strokes and stuff. Ernie Hadrick is a kid from Cherry Street in Norristown. I grew up on the block, 500 block of Cherry Street, and that block, even though it's changed, it's still dear to me, in my heart. I mean, that's just where I lived, and grew up there. Became very active in sports as a young kid at Gotwalls Elementary School, at Stewart Middle School, at the high school, and whatever. So my life has been all about sport. Then I went to college on a track scholarship, which I kind of messed up. But I came back to Norristown, and subsequently I graduated. And then later on, I started coaching in Norristown. And I had a pretty decent career at coaching in Norristown. It was a great ride. And at the end, we won state championship, and we won indoor states. We won runner-up outside in 2001. And then I kind of got out of it, and went on into some school district administrative kind of stuff. And even though I was a guidance counselor, I was able to interact with the superintendent and really went on to do some good things with the school district. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. I'm a father, a husband. I have one son. My wife and I have been married 44 years. And now we just found out I have a grandson. Now we just found out yesterday that another grandson is coming in December. So that's my life. That's my life.
Wow. Now you mentioned about your coaching. What was it? Track and field?
I coach track, cross country and track.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know the cross country side of me. They only know the track. But cross country was my favorite because I didn't know anything about it and I had to teach myself. So, we did a lot. I took the first girls team from Norristown to the state championship in cross country.
Wow.
I think 3 black girls
Yeah.
and 2 white girls, if I recall. And we didn't do anything, but we were there, And one of my guys who's a podiatrist now, he up in Kutztown, I think. He was 7th in the States in cross country. He averaged like 5-minute miles
Wow.
back to back.
Mm.
So, the running part, I kind of know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
It's not sprinting like
Yeah.
we normally associate with me. It's about the whole deal. So I pride myself in that,
Yeah.
pride myself.
Now,
Um,
you always had a love for running. I mean, where was in your childhood? How did it all start?
at the time, which it's kind of unfortunate that we don't do this anymore. But when I was in Gottwalls Elementary School, which is on Oak in Swede, the old Gottwalls, every year, Norristown School District, I guess it was the district, phys ed teachers, they held a field day at Roosevelt Field. So all the elementary school kids, it was like a big festival.
Mm.
And so in 5th grade and 6th grade, I think you compete. And that's where I was in my first track meet in Gottwalls. And I did okay. Me and one of my eventual high school teammates, we used to go battle as elementary kids. He went to Washington Elementary, and all the kids would walk down there for the most part from their different schools. They would get to Roosevelt, and that was a big deal, field day in elementary school, which we don't have now, which is kind of like unfortunate because these young kids, they need to be active in 5th and 4th grade. So that's how I got introduced. And then I went to Stewart or Bloxon Middle School, what's now Bloxon, and I ran track there, and I got really, really had a lot of success. And at the high school, I eventually became a state champion in the 400. So that's, then I went to college for track and, at Morgan State in Baltimore. So, life has been track. Life has been track.
Okay. And also you're president, or you've been leader in the NAACP. I mean, yeah, right?
Never president.
Okay.
Never president.
You've been
I
always
was a vice president.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the education committee. I was a vice president who did a lot of work, but I was on the education committee. And my wife, she was the education coordinator, and she started some programs that were unbelievable. And one of them we still do now, 15 years later, where we honor 8th grade Black students from the 3 middle schools. And she started that 15 years ago. She's not doing it now, but some other people have picked up on it. So that's one of our hot programs. And I'm sort of helping with the education committee now because that was my other thing, education. So I'm doing that now. I'm not like in the driver's seat, I'm just I'm on the train though, and I got some exciting things we're going to do. Real exciting things. So that's where I'm at now with the NAACP. I've been through, 20 years, 21 years in the NAACP here.
Okay, so for a person that doesn't know anything about the NAACP, what is its mission? Why are you passionate? Have you been committed and passionate to this?
The mission really is to have equality, amongst because it's still not there where we'd like it to be, but equality and dealing with discrimination. That's one of the things we do. But then also there's sets of committees that are employed in the NAACP, education, political action, who help people get, register people to vote, help get the vote out. We have a labor and industry committee. We have a criminal justice committee. Now, we don't have all those committees. So I like some of your viewers to maybe hook up with me later to maybe get connected with our membership chair. But we like to activate those committees, and we like to do it with young people because we chartered a youth chapter in 1964 in Norristown.
Mm.
The adult chapter was chartered in 1958, and I still have the original charter. And it was signed by this great civil rights leader in this country. And it's a phenomenal organization that I honestly have to say has lost its muster in some ways. But it's a lot of work. And if we do it, it's going to be better for everybody.
Yeah,
It's better for whites, blacks, browns, if we start treating people the way they should be treated as human beings. So that's why I do it, because I see injustice and I don't think it's right. And we got to call it as we see it, and then we got to work together.
That's right. That's right. Now let's kind of go back. Just we got an idea about your early days, your involvement in sports, even currently now the NCAA aspect of things, as well as now. Let's go back in time at the Carver Center, and now it's my understanding that you were some of the original the group there, and what happened. Tell us explain, share with why the Carver Center came about, and let's go back in time.
Well, it's interesting to look at it this way. When my father was involved in the Carver Center, and he used to tell his son everything. I knew everything he did, whether it was with the union. He was one of the co-founders of the labor's union in Norristown, but he was also on the board, I think, on the Carver. And when when they were actually building the Carver, he was a construction man. He always felt that it was a way they could have dividers in there where you could break the room up and have classes and stuff. But the board guys didn't feel it. So now we end up with what we have now, which is a fantastic building. It's beautiful, but that was his dream. So anyway, when the building opened up, they had a big day, and they had a big splash party, I guess. And I was 10 years old,
Wow.
And it was just wonderful. We had family memberships and all this stuff. It was just fantastic. But now, looking back years later, I find out why the Carver was started. And that kind of blew my mind. There were some children who drowned in what we call a cesspool behind the zoo. And so the community, along with, business people, they put that Carver together, going door to door, raising money for about 14, 15 years until 1960, when the building went up. And it's just a phenomenal thing. And to me, it's the mecca of Black folks in the community. Yeah. And that's why I try to help the Carver any way I can. And I will continue, because that is our center. Yeah. That is our center. Yeah. And if we don't take care of that, we're going to lose a whole lot of kids. Yeah. We lost too many. So that's, and also the funny thing is that I mentioned to you the other day, a young lady at my church, she's a sibling of one of the kids who drowned. Wow. In the pool. Wow. And she's still with us. Wow. We're pretty cool, her and I. She's dynamite lady. And
love to see if we can get to talk with her.
So she's down. She's with us. Yeah, she's gonna be call her when I get off this Zoom. Yep. And let her know that it's happening. Yeah. It's happening. And she's a sweet lady. And her name is Sandra Stevens. Mm-hmm. And she's a beacon in the Ebenezer Methodist Church. Okay. And yeah. She's, good friends with our pastor. Mm-hmm. And they're companions. And for lack of a better word. But she's fantastic. And you will meet her. She'll be wherever you need her to be. I guarantee. Yeah. Guarantee you. Yeah. She has two other siblings that are still living also. But I went to school with one of them, Mm-hmm. But so yeah. that's going to, whatever you need that to happen.
That's what's known as a cesspool. Does it still exist? Or has it been covered up or what?
I don't know. We used to call it the King's Bathtub.
Mhm.
That's what we called it back then.
Like the
And
Elmwood
this was
Park
like,
too?
yeah, right, right behind the zoo. Like, have you been out to the zoo recently? The
Not really.
zoo is like transformed.
Yeah,
Al
yeah.
Zone has done a phenomenal job. So where that parking area is, that new parking lot they
Oh
have in the
yeah.
back, it must have been right there. And
Okay.
you know, a few of us were fortunate enough to have Y memberships. We were allowed to go to, if you had a little bit, you could, my parents got us, me and my brothers and stuff. We all went to the YMCA, which was right next to the prison on Erie Street. Okay,
Oh, really?
right
Okay.
next to the prison, and then next to that was Borough Hall. The Borough City Hall was right on the corner of DeKalb and Erie. So we were able to go there
Hmm.
as kids. And a lot of kids, a lot of black kids couldn't go there. They, if you didn't have a couple dollars, you couldn't get into Y. So the Carver, that was it,
Yeah.
and that was only for the summer. But that's, a lot of people don't know that story. But the
Yeah.
Carver has been there for us,
Yeah.
and if you can't support the Carver, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so excited about when you call me. I was kind of hedging because a lot of people want to call you and want you to do things. But when you mentioned the Carver, that was it.
Yeah.
That was, and then the sports thing is
Mm.
right down my alley. You know, I'm not active in coaching, but I know a little bit, and I know when something's right or wrong. I don't have to be out there on the field, but I can watch and I can,
Yeah.
do my
Yeah.
little thing with that. So
Yeah.
I'm just thrilled that this thing is happening and I can participate without, running around. You
That's
know what I
right,
mean?
man. Yeah, yeah, and that is, and it's also just being that catalyst, right, to others, the next generation, and those that are already coaching in Norristown to say, okay, let's join the team because it's all about bringing Norristonians involved in
And
this.
there's some great track and field families in Norristown,
Mm.
who have done great things. The Livers family, for one. Ron, one of the Livers boys, he just passed away. He was a world-class triple jumper.
Mm.
And his brothers were very big stars. The Hadrick family, we didn't do too bad. We got several of us who've done some great things, state champions, you know, uh, school record holders, the whole nine. So we're committed as a
How about
family.
Tony
And
Darden? How about
Darden's family, Darden's family. It's just, the Colbreth family. The guy, Josh Colbreth, was an Olympian here from Norristown. He's the guy that got me in college.
really?
He passed not too long ago. He was in his 80s. He
Huh.
was my mentor because Ernie Hadrick wasn't as good a student as he was a track runner. So after all those offers were made,
Yeah,
I couldn't do anything because I didn't have the grades.
yeah.
And Josh picked me up, and he was a man at Morgan State. He was the coach's pet. So the
Yeah.
coach let me get in, thanks to him. So there's other families right now with all this excitement. I can't even zero in on it, but people will tell you, people will mention these names, these families, and we're well respected
Mhm.
for what we've done.
Yeah.
All these families, and uh, you know, I I'm just excited. I'm always excited about Norristown, and one thing I gotta say because it's been on my heart lately is that my son introduced me. My son Trey, he introduced me to all these education people because that's what he's into, and it's a Columbia University professor who's a hip hop professor, right? His whole thing is hip hop, and I got introduced to him, and he said something about how his community up in New York was like, a ratcheted community when he was coming up. And now his whole philosophy is hooking up the ratchet thing with the education thing. So right now, I'm really strongly committed to us being who we are,
Yeah.
whether we're from the hood or whatever, and being academic
Yeah.
and academically hooked up. So to me, I see a rainbow over Norristown because Norristown is our place. We love it, you know, and no matter what people say about the schools or whatever, we see Norristown from a different light. We call it town. And I want to make sure that everybody realizes the best in Norristown, not the worst stuff. And this, what you're bringing here now, you're trying to help us be the best, have our kids be active. You're not going to have no trouble, any trouble when you activate these kids. I had 120 kids on my track club at Roosevelt Field, and we ran them in shifts. We couldn't bring them all into the field at one time. People didn't understand how we did it, but we just worked hard and we loved the kids. And, you know, now I'm 74 next month, and the kids, I see kids, I don't even remember what they look like, but they come at you. So you're going to be really starting something it's going to be powerful.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, this community wants that. It's just not been offered. You know, we haven't continued our recreation programs the way we should. I mean, there's an initiative that's starting now, which looks pretty positive, but there's so many kids that are out there, and you're getting ready to do something that's special. And I'm with you. I just, you know, I can't say enough.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Ernie. I mean, that's again, I simply see myself as a steward. I feel like, okay, God, you know, if this is meant to be, it will happen. And then I was the recipient of the grant. It's okay.
Right.
Ready, fire, aim, Lord, you know. And so, but I just see that the Lord is like bringing favor, and it's like I'm just trying to have to catch up to it all. And so, you know, this is going to be kind of a work in progress, and then I'm going to be leaning into people like you, that the relationships, the know-how, and the connections, so that ultimately Norristown really embraces this, and specifically within the Carver Center as the cradle of that, because that the part that really, this moral imperative for me about it, just broke my heart when I understood about why it was formed, right? Then from a triathlon perspective, here we are as triathletes, we swim out there in the Schuylkill River. It's what we do. People pay to go swim and train in the Schuylkill River, to train for their triathlon, right? Back then, the water holes was the only option, right? And now, metaphorically speaking, here the river is the place where you go. And so now with the Carver Center, with the only swimming pool in Norristown besides the high school, right? Perfect. Gosh, that's a jewel. Now let's utilize that pool to train, so that it's no longer about fear of swimming, because there's a lot of trauma behind swimming in water. And if you get a chance to watch Jordan Hunter, my interview with him, that's in that our Facebook group, he talks about the trauma and why he was the first African American in the special ops of the Navy, of rescuing, right? And so he's a swimmer and has been a pro swimmer and all of that, and that's his mission, is to empower the Black community to fall in love with water, because it was such a traumatic experience. And that's the narrative of rewriting that, so that the Carver Center now becomes a beacon of hope, right? To now go into the river and start racing, and then there's scholarships, especially right now in the women's, with the NCAA in triathlon. If a person is not going in high school, and let's say they get burned out on track and field or single sport or swimming, triathlon, they are just as competitive, and there's the same type of scholarships, D1s, and right now it's women with the that's NCAA, and the men are still working on that. That's still more varsity club, but these are opportunities for a single sport athlete to aspire to go into triathlon at a high competitive level. And USAT is the national governing body. And so this could also be the pipeline. It is the pipeline to the Olympics as well. And you never know. It's coming, Olympics, Summer Olympics in 2028, LA again, Los Angeles, 2028 is coming back. And who knows, there might be someone from Norristown that may be that triathlete, you know?
You know, optically, when you came to me and you said Black Triathlon, I would have never thought that. All the stuff that you're telling me about triathletes, cyclists in the 1800s.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that, because everything I optically see is usually doesn't have us in there, maybe a few. So this is like, wow. And then to think that a place that I played in as a kid in the river, and now this activity is coming back to the river. So you got a bunch of old guys like myself, they're gonna be all psyched up to see that the river now is doing something, and you ain't got to worry about drowning because you got lifeguards. You know? Oh man, this is
Yeah,
like,
but it's a sport, man. You know, you can go
yeah.
pro.
Like when you mentioned to me that you were in the company of Byron Craig when this came up, and then I know how he goes, and he put my name in there. I thought, but we love each other, and we do things together now, in different ways, in education. So I love the guy, and I'm just glad that you were able to that you asked me to participate. That's an honor, because
likewise, man.
yeah, it's an honor, man. And like I just want to give until I leave. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, I want to give.
Amen. And that's why it's all about leaving a legacy, And so I want to honor your time. It is coming on 11:30. I know that you have some things to do. Any last parting words that you would encourage a person, even like the coaches and those that are all part of the triathlon community, as well as the Norristown community at large? Just what would you like to say about participating in this USAT triathlon team that we are forming, and what would you like to just endorse in that?
I just think parents, you always have to be looking for opportunities for your children, and this is a new opportunity, but encapsulates other opportunities that you've already been exposed to: swimming, biking, running. It's different ways people have been doing those things, but now you have a competitive program where kids can learn and be healthier. Plus, they can compete because they like to, compete. And so I'm just, I think when this gets public, I want to be there to see the faces of those parents, because if they have to set the motion, they have to set this thing in motion. And I just urge all the parents that see this, realize that they have an obligation to their children to get this and other activities going, because we need it. But this is really, I've never, we haven't had this before. We've had all the basketball, the track, this is totally different. And I just applaud you guys for what you're doing, and it's going to be successful. It's no doubt. It's already been determined. Yeah, it's already been determined.
Yeah, amen. Well, thank you so much. And, we're going to make this recording available. And so thank you for your time. And this is just the beginning. This is just establishing the foundation. So thanks so much.
Keep my excitement down. Let me keep my excitement. I'm pumped.
All right, man.
All right.
Thank you so much, Ernie.
Thank
God
you.
bless you. And I'm going to stop this recording now.
Okay. Thank you.